Good. Okay, awesome. So we don't want to have to speak to double the people to do double the business. We don't want to have to send double the flyers to get double the business. We don't want to have to have twice as many friends to get twice as many referrals. It just isn't going to work. You can't just, people see, well, I'm at my limitation. I can't do any more deals. People say things like that, but you have to get better at your process in order to be able to do more. So this is all part of a process, what we call can I, constant and never ending improvement. And the idea is you're improving every step along the way. You're getting better and better so that your outcome can be much better. I always give this example when I talk about it. Two agents, you're maybe a newer agent and or maybe you're just doing whatever you're doing okay. And there's someone in the office who you say, oh my God, that guy doesn't seem to work harder than me, doesn't spend more money than me, doesn't really do much more, but somehow at the end of the month, I see their name on the board twice as often as mine. Why is that guy doing twice as much business? And sometimes the negative talk starts, and we say, well, he's really lucky, or he must have a family member, or he must buy his business, or do his deals for no commission, or, we make up some story. But at the end of the day, this person may be incrementally better at you than you at several different steps along the way. And so you continually to try and work harder, and you end up making that incremental improvement. Okay, I'm really focused this year. I'm going to speak to more people. And then you do slightly more business. You do 10% more business, 15% more business, and you actually feel burnt out about it and you hate it. So then you kind of go back and you drift down, and then you got to work harder. That growth will never get you a sustainable amount of business growth in the long run. What you need is a way to find exponential growth. How do you find exponential growth in your business? You find exponential growth by breaking it down and doing big steps. So let me give you an example about what I'm talking about. Can you guys see me okay? I can't hear any of you. Can someone unmute yourself and just say, hey, yeah, I can hear you?
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Still beginning of the year. I'm working out the kinks. All right, so here's an example. Just random, whatever it is, if it's cold calling, if it's door knocking, whatever it is. I just gave this random example. Don't worry about the numbers. I'm just putting it out there. Let's say you speak to 1,000 people, you generate 100 leads from those 1,000 people, you generate 30 appointments and 4 sales. And that is your sales process. Now, a lot of times you say, well, I want to do 8 sales, but I can't speak to 2,000 people. I'll just get too busy. Or even like I'm at my limit already and I can't speak to more people. Well, maybe you could speak to 10% more people. And maybe you could convert 10% more of those people you speak to leads. And maybe you convert 10% more of those 30 appointments to 10% more appointments, and maybe 10% more to 10% more. And you think, but I don't want to just do 10% more business. I want to do much more business. But here's how it breaks down when you grow by 10% in each of these areas. It's simple at the beginning. It's like compound interest. The 1,000 people become 1,100 people. Everyone gets that. That makes sense, right? The 100 leads become 121 leads. Why isn't it 110 leads? Because you're getting 10% more leads, but you have spoken to 10% more people, right? So you're now getting 110 leads for the 100, and you're getting 11 leads for 110 leads for the 1,000, and you're getting an extra 11 leads for the extra 100. Exponential growth, compounding. Then instead of getting 30 appointments, you end up with 40 appointments, and instead of 4 sales, you end up with 6 sales. So now you spoke to 10% more people, and you're doing 50% more business. A 10% improvement in this particular case can result in a 50% improvement. Does that make sense? I'm just going to go back to this and look at it, because this is the whole key to how you can grow your business and get much better and do many more deals without just saying, geez, I got to put in double the hours if I'm going to work double. And they're not two of me, so I can't do it. Right? This is a key concept in growing your business. But what it takes is breaking it down. So I'm just going to give you a couple examples. What I decided, I was going to do the whole big thing that I've done before about optimization, but I want to just break it down to the simple step of figuring out your process. And then we'll start to optimize as time goes on. If you don't know your process, if you're not tracking your process, it's very hard to optimize. So I'll give you your prescription near the end of this. But the idea is, how can I get 10% better in several different areas so that I get 50% more results? And it's not that much more time or effort. It's just a better outcome. So today we're starting with step one. And that's really, step one is just saying, well, where does my business come from? How do I generate business? And most of all, what is my process? If you can understand your process, you're well on your way to being able to optimize your process. And that's where you'll get your growth. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple examples, but the basic outline is you have a source of business, you develop contacts in that source, you follow up, you get appointments, you get contracts, and you do transactions. This is like simple step 101. So I'm going to give you a few different examples. Okay, anyone here do open houses? Does anyone here do open houses and try and get deals from open houses? Guys, for some reason I can't see you, so I need someone to unmute themselves and chat with me. So who here is committed to doing open houses this year? I can't see you at all. Me. Okay, sorry, who's that?
Jan.
Jan, hey Jan. Okay, so
hi.
Doing open houses, committed to your open houses. Do you know how many open houses you're going to do this year? I'm putting you on the spot.
At least twice a month. Okay, at least twice a month. I would say 2 days. When I say twice a month, is like 2 weekend days, like Saturday and Sunday. So that'll be 4 days per month.
4 days per month. Okay, great. So you're going to do 4 days per month. That's 48 open houses per year.
At least.
Right. So, and then the next step is, okay, so you know your time, right? And then the next thing you're going to figure out is like, how many people per hour can you get in the door? Right? Do you have a guess? Last year, do you know kind of that number?
About 10.
About 10
people. Sometimes there's less, sometimes a lot more. So you average it at least 10. When I do open house, I do 3 hours, not 2 hours, just to maximize my my time and effort.
Beautiful. That's one thing I was going to say. That's one way to maximize. So already you're optimizing one aspect of it. So if you're already putting out the signs, if you're already taking the time, you're already putting out your feature sheets, you're doing all this stuff, you're doing all this work to do your open house, why not stay the extra hour? Amazing. That's great. So now, listen, if you're comparing yourself to Yen while you're listening here, if you were going to do 4 open houses a month, are you getting 50% less hours than Yen is? Right? If you said, oh, how did you get 10 people per hour? Well, maybe there's a process. So what's one thing you can do to get more people in per hour? What affects how many people per hour?
One thing I do, like open house sign, is definitely another thing that you have to do. So you have to do open house sign to attract more people, and you advertise it in your social media. So it's like a combo. Like you can't do just one thing. It's a combination of all the little things you add up together to get the max result.
Right. Do you always make sure your open houses are put on realtor.ca through Manage My Profile?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's right. So Manage My Profile, put it out. Make sure you have lots of signs out. Make sure you put it on your social media. And then if I were to say, it's really important that you increase the number of people that come to your open house by 10%. What's the first idea you have to try and get more people out beyond that? I'm putting you on the spot here,
Tell as many people as you can. Open house, if it's your own listing, you can still knock 20 or 40 doors in the neighborhood to attract more neighbors.
Right, beautiful. So now right, there's one way. If you take an extra hour, so you're doing 6 hours of open house on a weekend, maybe you want to take an hour and drop some invitations at neighbors before, and maybe that 1 hour gets your 6 hours to be way more effective. Amazing. Great idea. Okay. So now we're going from number of people, how many people you get in the door, to how many leads you get. What's your best way of getting a lead? Or do you have a sign-up sheet? Do you make sure you have people ready to follow up? Do you tell me about your process there?
So I'm still improving my skills, but right now I don't waste time talking to people who already has a realtor. So you ask them if they have a realtor right away, and then you focus on the people who's considering buying and selling. So that's where you focus. 3 hours seems like a long time, but sometimes it goes by really fast. You want to talk to the right people so you catch the right seller or buyer.
Great. So, okay, amazing. So let me give you one tip on that while we're talking about it. If you ask people, do you have a realtor? It sometimes is the same thing as asking people when they come into a retail store if there's anything you can help them with. They want to get rid of you as fast as possible. So, do you have an agent? Some people are trained to say yes. So maybe you want to say, have you already seen a lot of houses? And maybe that's a hint. And then maybe say, when you see houses, do you always go through the listing agent? And then you can get a little more information. So you might squeeze out a few more people and get the truth, right? So this is just talking about optimizing and just getting a little bit like, how can you do that better? Great. How do you get their phone number?
By a record sheet. So say, can you please register? I need to have record of all. Yeah.
Great. Do you ever follow up with someone who seemed really great, but they gave you a phony number? Has that ever happened?
Yeah. Like I do follow up. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you ever call and follow up, and either it's a wrong number or the number's disconnected, or you just never get a hold of them?
Yeah, then you just don't get a hold of them anymore. You try, and then if a good number, then you just focus on the good people.
Right. Amazing. That's a great, you're 100% right. You do. So let me give you a tip that worked really well for a lot of our agents. If you put a sign on the door that just says, hey, text me for access into the house and I'll let you in, then they have to text you, then you have their real number. I'm just giving you some ideas.
Oh, smart. Yeah.
So that's a great idea. That's like probably the number one tip that was spread from sorry, I'm forgetting who originally started at one of our masterminds last year, but it came back to it got around the world. I swear, this tip got around the world. And I was talking to Nick Bailey in California for Remax CEO, and he told me the idea, and I'm like, hey, you heard that from Remax Realtron, and he said it was true. So that's a great tip. And then it's a question of following up. So yeah, how do you remember what to say to people when you're following up with them at the open house? You had 20 people through your open house. You're now doing follow-ups Monday or whenever you're doing it. How do you know what to say?
I often write a text message first saying that, hi, I met you from this open house within a day or 2 days. Can't be too long. They'll lose their memory. So you tell them where you met and which house they were interested. So they kind of have a little bit of memory of you because you guys talked.
Right. Do you write down after you meet someone what they said to you?
I do. I do. I write down how many people they came in, how do they have kids, younger kids, their background, try to have a little bit of story of them. So when I call them, I say, hey, your kid was like so cute or something.
Right. Amazing. So that's a great tip in getting beyond just the phone call into maybe turning a lead into an appointment. Amazing. So yeah, sounds like you've got a great process. What I'd love you to do is write this process down and then track your numbers. So create a little spreadsheet.
Okay.
And put in how many open houses you do, how many people came in per hour, what you did to get people in, how many leads you got, how many appointments you got, how many contracts you got, and how many deals you got. Right? And let's track this over the next month, because in 4 weeks, we're going to come back and we're going to look at your numbers, and then we're going to ask for a suggestion for improvement on each of these areas. Right? Does this make sense? So hopefully this was really helpful. Thank you, Jan. Amazing example.
Yes, great.
Your help. Good. So I'm going to give you guys, we can't do a ton of examples. I want to do one
No
more.
problem.
But I'm going to give you guys a process just to follow. So I'm going to repeat that again. And so if it's open houses, this is the process. If it's cold calling, it's pretty simple. Cold calling is the most simple and straightforward. Numbers one, how many people did you dial? How many people answered? How many leads did you get? How many follow-ups did you do? How many appointments do you get? Contracts and sales. Pretty simple and straightforward. So if I'm optimizing, I'm saying, well, how can I get more people to answer the phone? I start to look at the time I called, right? How can I get more leads? Maybe I have to work on my scripts and my offering, my follow-ups. When is the right time to follow up? Did I get a cell phone number to follow up with? You know, those things you're improving. So if you're a cold caller, write down these categories and start to check your numbers. If you're a cold caller and you're a number person and you have a series of numbers, you can get better at this stuff. If you have a referral-based business, a lot of people have referral-based business don't realize what a crisp and clean business they have because they don't track their numbers with it, right? A lot of people do this. They end up with this problem and they don't track their numbers, but they actually have a well-organized business. They just don't realize it. So how many people do you have in your database? How many contacts do you make? How many leads do you generate? How do you follow up? How many meetings do you set up? Appointments, sales. What you may find out in this is, hey, when you say meetings, I don't really track meetings. I just meet people at the house. And that's where you might be losing people. You might be losing people and not doing as well. And you might say, well, I get a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of, I have a lot of people in my database, but I don't speak to them often. So that's a way you can dramatically improve, right? And we'll find those areas where you can have huge improvements, but then the rest of the areas, you're looking for those incremental improvements. Another process that people don't really treat sometimes as a business, but it really is social media. And you can have a number of posts and you can increase that number of posts. You can have a number of views, follows, responses, DMs, and appointments. You can track all those things. But do you ever take the time to sit down and say, well, how do I get more views on a post? How do I get more follows? How do I get more responses? How do I create more DMs? And then how do I generate more appointments from that? So these are a bunch of different systems. Does anyone have a business where they get a lot of business from social media here? Who's a social media type person? That they're always interacting with people on social media and posting, and that's where most people see them from. And again, I'm really sorry. For some reason, I can't see you guys. I'm just going to try that. Social media people? Nobody gets any business on social media? All right, if not, we'll move on. I hope you guys can see me because I can't see anything there.
Jeremy, there's a lot of agents who engage in social media than buyers or sellers. So,
okay, sorry, did I freeze up a little bit there? Yes. Who's that? Sorry, guys. Just had a moment of trouble. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, thanks, Sam. So who is that says is Zoom user that says Instagram is my CRM, my business is majority from social media? Oh, hey, Corinne, you have a new look. So great, Corinne. Can you unmute yourself?
Done.
Okay, hey, how are you?
Good, you?
Good. All right. So I know you are not a numbers person. You don't track what you do. You just do it all the time, right?
That's right.
Okay. So let's just pretend you wanted to track the numbers for this. So how do you know how often to post? Or you're just always posting, right?
It's just part of what I do. Yeah.
It's part of what you do.
I'm always, yeah.
So if you
I'm
track,
sorry.
so if you track your post for like 30 days, or even if you look backwards at the last 30 days at how many posts you made, it would be really difficult to say, okay, you want more business from social media, you gotta post more things, right? That would be really tough for you. Agreed?
Yes.
But your optimization may come from the fact that you might say, okay, I have you can go back and look and say, okay, I made 55 posts, or I made 100 posts in the last 30 days. Let's say you made 100. Which were the ones that got the best interactions? Do you ever look back and say that?
All the time. Yeah. I'm always shocked by what what gets the most attention. And then I try to refocus my posts on that.
Right. So great. So if that's the way you're doing it, that's great. You're already optimizing that, right?
Yeah, and I also research how to do it better, how to do Instagram better.
Right.
And then I try to implement some of those strategies. And then I do check the interactions and the views and then sort of I'm constantly changing the strategy, but always posting.
Amazing. So, right. So that is exactly what we're talking about. And just doing that for every step. So you're constantly posting, you are optimizing what you are posting. And then do you look for a next level? Do you look for like what turns into business? Like what is the next level beyond that of, you know, where you get? Do you track how many people message you? Do you try and add a certain number of followers per integral or whatever?
I don't. I think a lot of people are just watching and they get information from me, and it just builds my reputation as the expert. And
Right.
so when they're ready, they just know to call me or refer me. But it's not really about getting the messages from the post or getting the lead directly from one post. It's just part of the bigger story.
Right.
But I pay attention to how many, like for the reels, which reels are actually getting viewed, and Instagram tells you, how many minutes
Right.
people have spent looking, and it's really funny what people look at and what they don't. So they actually don't look at my for sale posts at all. I get very few watches for that, but if I post just myself talking, I get a lot more engagement.
Right. And so what's the next level for you in terms of like maybe you can look at that next level and say, okay, how do I get more follow? I get a lot of views and I get people contact, but maybe there's some people that disappear into the ether after they've liked my post, after they interacted with me once, and they never end up following me or something like that. Right? Is there a next level you can look at in terms of follows? Like and then if you say, okay, well, how can I get more of those people to follow me? Maybe you have a follow back strategy, right? Where you go through who liked your post and who messaged you, and you see who's not following you, and you just follow them. You do that?
I do that a lot. Yeah, I follow anybody that interacts with my post.
Great.
But there is a problem. There is a problem with Instagram. You have a limit. I think it's 7,500 follows. So I have to constantly delete some in order to be able to add more.
Oh, that you follow?
Yeah, there's 7,500. That's the limit.
That's the limit. I didn't even know there was a limit. You're the
Yeah,
only
so I'm
person I know
always
that
at the limit.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So two things here. Number one, you guys can see Corinne. She just doesn't post a lot. She's not just getting lucky here. She is optimizing what she's doing all the time and getting better and better at her posts. So thank you for that inspiration, Corinne. Right, and then following back, and you have a good strategy. So then you come into the limitation of the 7,500, and you say, okay, what can I do for that? Well, I have to unfollow some people. Then what's sort of the next level, right? So how do you keep optimizing it? How do you keep getting better and better? How do you keep growing your audience and things like that? So as you're doing that, just look, Corinne, at like, what are those things you're doing and where is that? But I know you're already doing that. So congratulations on your optimization that's working for you already. And it is working, right?
It's working. I think so. I just
Yeah.
don't measure, like, I don't measure everything. But I think it's just part of a bigger story. It's the long-term vision.
I totally agree with that. I think for the purposes of this, is there one area where you could say, okay, maybe I have a blind spot somewhere and maybe I could add like, you know what, people might slip through the cracks here or there. And you may not have it. You may
Right.
have a tight process, but right? Or everyone know what your Instagram is. Go ahead. Give yourself a shout out.
What's that? Oh, they want to know my Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh, I have 5. So I have Corinne.rotem. And then I have real estate at Friday Harbor, which is really important. And then I have rent at Friday Harbor. And then I have one that's really fun, which is Friends of Friday Harbor, which has 13,500 followers now, totally organically, no paid ads, nothing. And once in a while, I tag my real estate in Friends of Friday Harbor, but not often. Today I did.
Yeah. Nice. So maybe the thing is you take your weakest one or whatever you want to amplify more and you say, okay, what's the way I can sneak in some more interactions with that one and migrate some of your followers over.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. You're doing a great job. And Paria wants to know, how do you keep up with 5 accounts? That's amazing. Other than just being the hardest working person I know.
I have no idea. I just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Amazing. Good. Thanks so much for the help, Karen. That was a great example of a process that's working and optimizing and keep getting better and better and better over time. So the moral of the story is success is not by luck. You're not stuck with the process you have. You're not just kind of born this way and this is the best I can do. You can keep optimizing and keep getting better. And that's an amazing opportunity. So good. So the challenge I have is just to create a 30-day plan. And all you want to do for the next 30 days is just track your process. I have a feeling by tracking it, you'll just get better. But choose what it is for you in one area. And then about 4 weeks from now, we'll do another session like this and we'll go through and we'll get more examples of people getting better and better using this optimization process. So you want to track this process, and the process looks like this. What's the source of your business? So is it, like I said, is it cold calling, door knocking? Is it a sphere of influence, social media, whatever it is? What contacts are you making? Where are your contacts coming from? How many interactions are you having? Track the number. Track your follow-ups, what turns into appointments, how many appointments you actually do, how many contracts you sign, and how many transactions you do. And so to go back and just solidify this one more time, if your process is door knocking and you're really great at getting out there and you get a lot of great conversations, but you're not doing deals, maybe it's somewhere else along the way that you need your biggest improvement. Maybe it's doing follow-ups, right? Are you following up earlier than when you told the people you would? Are you good on appointments? If you're not good at appointments, you can have all the leads you want and everything, but you show up at the appointment and it doesn't work out and you're back to door knocking more people. And then you get in trouble with that. So if you can track this, number one, you can find your blind spots. Number two, you could find your little improvements along the way in each of these steps. And the goal by the end of this is that a year from now, you're going to do double the business with about the same amount of work. And it's possible because I gave you the example at the beginning of that person in the office who you don't think is much smarter than you, who you don't think works much harder than you, who you just somehow start to wonder, are they lucky or what the story is? And they're just doing a significant more amount of business. And if we keep up with that, if we keep improving like this, the difference, and maybe for a lot of you, like Corinne, the difference has already come in a lot of ways and you've gotten better and better. But if you're stuck getting the same results year over year over year, 2024 may be the year that you optimize your process and get better so that you can do more business impact more people, do more transactions, and make more money at the end of the day in less time. And that's a really exciting opportunity. So I'm just going to take 10 seconds here and just readjust what I'm doing so that we can look at know your numbers. So just give me 1 second here. This is our first week looking at the full spreadsheet, so I'm going to share it with you now. I'm going to make it bigger so you can see it. I'm going to make myself smaller. So I'm out of the way. There's me. Let me move this to the middle. Perfect. So here we are. So last year was quite a roller coaster. Let me just see where we are. Hold on. I got to see it. Perfect. So last year in sales, we were surprised at the end of last year. Remember I said last week when we looked at the market watch that I was surprised by the number of sales. It was higher. Well, what happened near the end of last year, let me just get a cursor so you can see it, is this yellow line. Actually, sorry, I'm going to make it even bigger. This is the number of sales. 2021's in blue. We had an amazing year. 2022's in green. It was up and down from last year, and 2023's in gold here. And we were all kind of expecting this kind of downward trend to happen. This is kind of mid-November, right? And we're expecting it came up a little bit, but we're expecting it to come down. And December really held strong. And the number of sales every week in December was really surprisingly high. And it held strong until the very last week, until Christmas week. Two reasons. Number one, Christmas came on a Monday. So people were in school, kids were in school right up until the last week. So that was a little bit helpful. But in addition to that, the market seemed to hold up and be strong. And remember in November, we were kind of calling, maybe it feels like, looks like the bottom of the market, but you can't really tell going into December because December slows down. Well, December outperformed the market. I kept in January here to show you it a little bit, but I've also got it over here. January, you can see the sales, just the first couple weeks of sales. Whoops, I need to make myself bigger. You can see it kind of hiding behind there. It's an orange number there. And the first week looks like 2022. The second week looks like 2023. So it's really too early in the year to see a trend. This is where 2024 is shaping up, right? So that's where we are in terms of number of sales. Are we going to go up like 2021 and 2022? Don't forget, 2022, the first 2 months were gangbusters, crazy, amazing market, right? So we were expecting a 2021-like year. This is a really slow year. And so if we're beating this, it's really good. And if we get ahead of this, somewhere around here is a really great market for 2024. And so what I'm predicting is we're going to come up somewhere like this, and we're going to have a higher number of sales on a monthly basis than we did in January of 2023. And that'll be a great month. So that's really good. The number of new listings has already started to increase, but not too many. Let's take a look at that. Second here. The number of new listings has increased, but it's lower. See that orange line right there? This, we're at lower than the last 3 years in terms of number of new listings. So we need to get more listings out there. This is for the first 2 weeks of 2023. This trend line's looking upward. Is it going to go up like this? I think we're going to see more listings in the first month or two of the year than we did in January of 2023 when the market was so slow and so tight. But if these listings don't come, prices are going to start to really go up. So we need a good number of listings coming up every year. I'm starting to see more multiple offers happening, not enough data to really show us anything, but anecdotally, we're seeing a good number of multiple offers for the first couple weeks of the year. People are back from vacation. The weather held up pretty nicely until now for a good number of listings. It's colder now this week and maybe affected a little bit, but I do think we're going to continue to grow in terms of the number of listings. And there appear to be tons of buyers out there ready to compete for really well-priced, good properties. And I think that's going to bode well for sales in January. So if you're out there, you're going to do well. 30 offers on a townhouse I showed in Vaughan. Yeah, that's happening. Don't be surprised if you see a lot of offers. it is a time where there are no comps because people don't know how a sale in November, what that means for prices today. We really don't know. We're just kind of guessing. So the best thing you can do is price it in line with November or slightly lower than November, set an offer date, and let the market dictate what's going to happen, because there are a lot of buyers out there. Buyers can now qualify using rates like 7% instead of, for a moment, it was around 9% the qualification rate, which made it really tough for people to get in. So it's a great opportunity if you're a seller to get your property on the market, well priced, and get it sold right now. For the rest of the time, really, this is our ramp up season. This is your time to be out there speaking to people, developing your process, figuring it out. So we're going to take this through the spring market, and hopefully by April, May, June, when all those listings are coming out and all those deals are being done, your process will already be optimized to some extent, and you will be able to benefit from it this year in 2024. And that's what I'm excited to do. So we're going to do a few optimization sessions like the one I did. And that's a great example. Zara's asking, is it a good time to have an offer date on our listings? Yes, I just said, I believe it is a great time to do so. Dill says, my Markham house has 20 showings in one day and received offers, power of sale townhouse. Guys, we were saying in November and December, how come there are 20 or 30 showings and no offers? The dam has to break. If all these buyers are out there, believe me, at some point they've got to buy, right? There's never a time where the market goes down because all these buyers are out there, but they're not buying. At the end of the day, supply and demand will win out. And we've been talking for years about the supply shortage. The short run interest rate problem we ran into is solving itself to some extent. Hopefully rates go down in the next couple of weeks. But even if they don't, the 5-year rate has already gone down, and that's helping people qualify for more. And I'm optimistic about how 2024 is going to go, even in January. And yes, multiple offers are a great opportunity to get a property sold quickly so that your sellers can move on, become buyers, get ready for their new house, whatever their plan is. Now is a great time to be a seller. So I look forward to seeing your success with listings and how you do and how you optimize your process. We have a great week. We've got a Tressa session on Thursday and lots of other opportunities to grow. Have a great week, everyone.